Hey everyone, welcome back to my another After Effects tutorial. This tutorial I made on your request. Today, we are going to cover all the steps, from creating lower third in After Effects to importing it in Premiere Pro, or any of your video editing software. And I'm sure nobody made a tutorial on it before. Before starting, please subscribe my channel for more upcoming tutorials like this. So today, we are going to create this. Okay, so let's get started. Open After Effects and create a new composition. Let's call it lower third. In this composition setting window, on the left of this basic tab, you will see this advanced. Click on this button. Then you will see these bunch of options here. In these options, check this template option. We are going to use this After Effects project in Premiere Pro to edit the text in our lower third. But make sure you have Adobe Dynamic Link as installed in your computer. I am keeping the same setting for our composition, that iconic 1080p resolution. We are not going to add any background layer, because we need our lower third to be transparent, so we are using comp color only. So we can see our objects. Let's start by creating a shape. In the Tools section, click and hold this rectangle tool icon. Here you will see these tools. I am going to use this rounded rectangle tool, because it has some benefits. This is my shape setting. I am using fill to a solid color. And my stroke is set to none. Let's choose this fill color to white. Now, press and hold the Shift key on your keyboard, and you will make this perfect round corner square. Select Move Tool by pressing V on your keyboard. If you select your shape layer, you will see its anchor point is not in the center, but we need it to be in the center. If you change anything in its transformation property, this shape is going to change according to this point. So let's fix this. We are going to place this anchor point into the middle of this square, grab this pen behind tool, and start dragging this point into the middle. While dragging, press and hold Ctrl key on your keyboard. And it will snap it to the middle automatically. You can see it perfectly aligning to the edges also. But for this tutorial, let's keep this in the middle. Perfect. Now press V to select the Move tool again, and make sure to align it to the center. So now let's animate this. Click on this arrow to expand the properties of this shape. Let's minimize this transform tab because we don't need it. Open this contents option, open this rectangle. You will see all these settings, but if you open this rectangle path, you will find roundness. You can make this a circle or square by changing the value of square. Cool. At the value of 150, it will be a perfect circle. Now, here is the scaling option for this shape layer. You can change the size of your shape as you like. So, let's start animating this. Go to around 1 second, and add a keyframe on size. Now go back to the middle of 0 and 1 second, and change size to 0. And you will get this boring scale animation. So let's make it interesting. Go to somewhere here in the middle of 1 and 2 seconds. And click here to add another keyframe. This is going to be a hold keyframe. We are not changing any value on this keyframe. Now go to around 2 seconds. and click on this link icon to change the constraint proportions. Now, if you increase the X value, you can see your shape increases in the X-axis. But if you change the size of Y, your shape will increase on the Y-axis. So let's change the size of X around 750. And you will see this. Perfect. Now let's add keyframes on this round to animate it. I want my round to be animate something like here. Add a keyframe. And then at this time, change its value to 0. So our first basic animation is complete. But it is so boring, let's make it smoothly interesting. Select all your keyframes, and press F9 to ease them. Let's trim the playback time by clicking here and press Enter Trim. RAM preview this, and you will get this similar animation. But it is still not that good. So now, select any of these keyframe, and then go to the graph editor, and start dragging this handle to make the graph curve like I have. Do the same with all these keyframes, select and change the curve of the graph. Change every single curve you see here. Now, let's play this, and yes, this looks very nice to me. But in my case, my hold time is too big, so select these keyframes, and drag them onto the left to decrease the timing. Now play this. And this is the perfect. Let's rename this to nameplate. Add a motion blur from the switches. If you don't see your switch tab here, right-click on the top here, and in the column section, select switches. Now click on this motion blur icon, and activate it by clicking here. Perfect, this looks good to me. Now select your shape layer, and press Ctrl+D to make a duplicate. And drag it little to the right. Something like this. And change its fill color to some red color. You can use any color you want. Now we have similar animation like we want. Perfect. Now, let's add our name text on it. You can download this font from the link in the description. Place this text on this red shape. And change the font size you want. You can use any font you want. Make sure your text have some margins left for the big names. So now, let's animate our text. I want my text to start showing at this point. For doing this, we need to mask our text. Select Shape tool. I am using Rectangle tool for this. Make sure you have not selected any layer. If selected, unselect it by clicking on the blank space. And then, start dragging and creating your rectangle shape. Make sure to cover all your nameplate shape. Perfect. Now select your rectangle shape and press S to open scale. Click on this link button to unlink its scale proportions. Go to around 2 seconds, and add a keyframe on the scale. Change its X value to 0. And then go to around 15 frames, and change the scale value to 100%. And you have this animation. it's time to mask out our text from this rectangle shape. But first, change the text layer name to name, and change the rectangle shape layer name to name mask, so that we can remember it. Let's mask our text now from this track matte tab. If you don't see this track matte option here, right-click here, and in the column, select Modes. Now, change None to Alpha Matte, and your text will start animating. Now we just need to match the timing where we want our text to start showing. Perfect, this looks good to me. Now select both keyframes, and press F9 to ease them. Again go to Graph Editor and adjust the curve like me. Now our first animation is complete. It's time to add our second name here. Select this nameplate shape and press Ctrl+D to duplicate it. Place this layer on the top. Now press the arrow down key to position it to the bottom of name layer. We don't need any animation on this, so press U to open keyframes. Select all keyframes and then delete them. Now scale its height to make it half from the bottom layer. And then, align it something like this. Perfect. Let's call it Position. Now select your text tool and start typing your subheading. I am using a different font for this subheading. You can download this font from the link in the description. Scale your text to something 36. And increase the kerning by 200 points. Let's change font type to regular so we can see it. For animating this text, we are again going to add a mask to it, but before, change this shape layer color to some dark gray color or any color you want. Make sure to align your subheading text into the middle of this gray layer. I want my subheading to start showing at this point. Let's rename this text layer to the designation. And then make a duplicate of position layer. And then place it to the above of all layers. Let's call it designation mask. Now, select your text layer and position layer and pre-compose them together. And call it designation. Now select your designation mask layer, and press S to open scale. Click on this link button to unlink it, so we can animate it like this. Go to at this point, and add a keyframe on the scale. Change scale X value to 0%. And then go to something like here, and change scale value to 100% again. Now, we have this layer animating. Let's mask out our text from this layer. Change None to Alpha Matte. And your text is going to animate like this. Change the animation timing and then, select both keyframes and press F9 to ease them. Go to Graph Editor and adjust its curve like this. Play this and you will see your animation. Let's create a white background for this subheading as well. Select your designation mask layer, and make a duplicate of it. Place this layer below the designation layer, and rename it to designation white. Now, we need to change the timing of this layer, but before, click here to make your designation white layer visible. And then drag your designation mask layer like this. Now select your designation white layer, and change its color to white. Now our lower third is complete. Perfect, this looks good to me. You are always free to add your own ideas. I am just showing you the way, destination is yours. Play this and you can see your lower third. Till now, we made our lower third opening animation. It's time to add a closing animation to it. Select all your layers, and pre-compose them together. Let's call it lower third comp. Now you have a single comp of all your lower third animation. Let's make our comp playback time to 6 seconds, by dragging like this. Now right-click on your layer, go to the time, and then select, Enable Time Remapping. This option will give you this time remap, with a keyframe. Go to the 3 seconds. And click here to add a keyframe. Now, go to the 5 seconds. And change this 5 to 0. So now, your lower third is opening, and then after 3 seconds, it is closing in. But after 5 seconds, it starts opening again. So let's trim out our comp timing to 5 seconds and 4 frames by pressing N. And then, right-click here, and select Trim Comp to Work Area. Here is your lower third is ready. So let's see how to use it. But before, press Ctrl+S to save it. Select your output location and your project name. Let's jump to the Premiere Pro. This is my project, and my scene is ready for adding a lower third to it. This is the video I downloaded from the videasy.com. Open your location where you saved your After Effects project. And add this project to the Premiere Pro. It will ask you to select your After Effect composition. In my case, this is my lower third comp with time remapping. So select this and then hit OK. Double-click on this project and you will see it's working fine. Now, add the video only onto your timeline. And you will see it is actually working in Premiere Pro. But what about changing the text of it? This is possible, and very easy to do inside Premiere only. Go to the window, and select Effect Controls. Go back to the project window, and double-click on this lower third. Now, if you go back to Effect Controls, you can actually change these texts without going back to the After Effects. This is magic. No, this is actually Adobe Dynamic Link. Change your name and designation, and it will update automatically. And your animation is also working. Click on this animation, and go back to the Effects control. And here you can arrange the size of your lower third. Anything you want. Click on this motion and add your lower third to the bottom left corner. But what about adding another name into it? You can do it as well. go to the project window, and right-click on your lower third, and select duplicate to make a duplicate of it. Let's rename it another to keep remember it. Double-click on it, and then go to Effect Controls. And then change your text. Then go to the source and add this video to your scene. And boom! We did it inside the Premiere Pro. For changing its property, select your first lower third, go to the Effect Controls, and copy this motion by pressing Ctrl+C, and paste it onto second lower third. And it will automatically change its size and position. Make sure you have Adobe Dynamic Link installed in your computer, in case this thing is not working for you, or you are using another video editing software. You can render your video and PNG and then add it to your video editing software. Let's jump back to the After Effects. Go to Composition and click on Add to Render Queue. And you will see this tab. Click on this Lossless. Change your format to QuickTime. You can download QuickTime from the Apple website for free. Now click on this format option. And change video codec to PNG. Now the important thing. In the video output, change channels from RGB to RGB plus alpha. Else your transparency won't work. Select your destination where you want to save your video file. And then click on the render button. Your render time could be different from mine. After render complete, add your video into your video editing software. And then, simply add on to your timeline. You have this transparent background lower third. But you cannot change its text without going back to the After Effects, and then render it again. Change its size and position, and place anywhere you want. So, we did this again. I spent almost 80 hours on creating this video, so please, share it as much as possible. Also leave a like, and subscribe my channel for more amazing tutorials like this. And yeah, please check these two channels also, I am posting their link in the description, check them and subscribe them. Thanks for watching this tutorial, have a good day.